to, with things like Nightline. Also, I think that the Church of Scientology has fired, they used to have like a little BB gun that they shoot at their foot. Now they have a machine gun and they seem to be shooting closer to their heart. So it's like every reaction that they have to Anonymous seems to get them into more and more trouble with the public.
Well, I want to invite you to stay sitting up here if you want to, and as we go into questions, I'm going to give this back to these guys. So a couple of final questions, and then I really want to get other people asking questions. I'm not sure how we're going to work this with the mics. Okay, so we have at least one mic. Okay, so we'll start taking questions shortly. So start thinking about it. I wanted to get any comments that the Anons have about their experiences being attacked by the church, or their concerns about having their identity revealed. Obviously, one thing that's so striking about this movement is that it happens without any identity disclosure. I mean, obviously. But why is that so important? What kind of responses have you had? For those of you who have had Scientology find out who you are, what's your experience been like?
Well, early on in this in Boston, there were only a couple of us around doing this. The first day we went flying, there were 2 of us. And we knew that if we were going to plan the initial protest, someone had to get the permit. And I waited a few days, and no one looked like they were going to step up and do it, so I did it. And I knew the day that I signed that paperwork that I would be, entered right onto a nice list of people they want to attack. And they pulled the paperwork the very next day, and I talked to the public people, the public works people, and they told me, yep, they've already called and gotten your name. I was very surprised that it actually took them a couple months to get me into court. In talking to the Boston PD, the best part of it was when the detective said the stack of paperwork is about this big. That's how many things, 1 sheet per report that they filed against me so far. Only one of those made it in front of a magistrate out of those hundreds and hundreds of filings, because they're ludicrous. Most of them are actually hilarious. The detectives, of course, hate it because all the extra work they're getting. But the one that made it in front of the judge was trespassing and criminal harassment. Now, the trespassing got thrown out because it was proven I didn't do it. They showed an edited video in front of the judge too, which is great. Then we showed the original, and the judge got to see that they edited theirs. One of those things. And then we also got to speak to the point that they do that a lot, and you should be used to it by now. And after that, we ended up talking to him a little more, and I got to give what you could call a closing statement. It wasn't, a real trial, so it was pretty much a free form. He says this, he says that kind of thing. And the magistrate decided that criminal harassment needs to at least go in front of a judge. We were the last case of the day. My lawyer had warned me that because of that, he would want to get us out of there as fast as possible. That was the fastest way he could get us out of there, by killing the trespassing and sending the criminal harassment forward. When I was on WGBH the other day interviewing, they sent their lawyer. They didn't send a Scientologist. They were going to send one, but they backed out at the last minute. They're just too scared to actually talk to us face to face, especially on television. And even their lawyer was stumbling. He said, every other word, and I think he did a pretty good job there. But the best part about what he was talking, in regards to the harassment, was that we were protesting, and that we were wearing masks. And that was the harassment. A constitutionally protected right, and something that's fully legal in this state. That's going to be their argument against me, so. I highly doubt it goes forward past the April 30th date, but this is all stuff I expected to happen just by signing that permit paperwork. And people in other cities are starting to have things start. Of course, out in California, they had something a little worse happen, but all those charges were dropped because the police out there have dealt with Scientology for so many years. And that's kind of where we end up. My court date's on the 30th, and we'll see what they get away with.
So as a decentralized group, what does Anonymous need to sort of support it going forward? What needs to be fed into the movement? Is it, what is it?
Well, everybody should go borrow money. We need you to buy the DVDs that we're selling outside. They're really great. No,
No, we're not actually selling.
they're not. They're not. It's gifts. They're gifts.
So aside from money, what fuels Anonymous, and what really will be sort of the half-life of this whole project, and what will sort of either extend or shorten that half-life?
Well, I mean, again, when you look at like the things the Church of Scientology has done, like, you know, Lisa McPherson, the Introspection Rundown, CCHR, all of these things are horrific, and they're going to continue going on, and they're feeding fear to their parishioners, they're abusing their parishioners, they're abusing your tax-paying money with all these frivolous lawsuits. I mean, so many things that are going to keep us going, and as long as we can keep ourselves amused, that'll help, obviously. But I mean, we want to see changes made in the church. We don't want to see the church like decimated or destroyed. We just want to see them running like a legitimate organization, or the business that they are.
I would like to say that the one thing we really need is more pylons. Right? Seriously, at the protests that we have in front of their organizations and at the various parks, like they were saying, the donations, all they're doing that out there for is to pay for those permits. They get expensive now. But the actual thing that's needed is people to stay amused and stay on board, and new people to show up. People are going to get bored with movements like this, and some people are going to stop showing up. We're going to shrink in numbers. We're hoping that we get enough press to grow in enough numbers to keep a pretty steady amount of people in this. The more people that join up and show up to the actual events, the better we're going to do, and the more press coverage we're going to get. So the thing that we need the most is just people showing up and people spreading the knowledge, people going to the websites and contributing. That's what's going to keep this going.
We run on ideas. Our ideas, your ideas, everyone's ideas. If we have new people coming in with new ideas that are good, no bad ideas, people, that gives us fuel to go. That gives us things to do. That gives us everything that we run on. And as long as we have that, right now we have a pretty good idea tank. We have lots of people who give out a lot of good ideas and a lot of bad ideas. The good ones are luckily voted up, and the bad ones are kicked down, and sometimes people get banned for them. That's as simple as that. That's all we need. We run on just that. That's the nature of an anonymous organization.
And we have a ton of literature out on the table out front, and you can all grab it. You'll have websites too, and there's written down with all of our websites pretty much. You'll be able to join us, give us your ideas, give us your feedback.
So in that spirit, I think we should welcome some questions from the audience. How do you, yeah. So, I don't know, yeah, I guess if you have a question, raise your hand and that guy will help you.
I've had two questions for you. The first one is, would you do this if it weren't simply, if you weren't able to visibly see that you were actually causing something to kind of crumble within Scientology? Would you do it just for the sake of making a stand against Scientology itself? Or is there kind of a element of, is the fun element the most important thing?
Well, when we started this, we had no idea what kind of reaction we were going to get from Scientology. We didn't know that they were going to shoot themselves in the foot so fantastically. We didn't know that they were going to say that we're all aliens controlled by German psychiatrists. It's just an added bonus.
Okay, the second question I had is, I've been listening to the radio a lot recently, and I noticed that Scientology is constantly playing radio ads claiming, you need to